Hello. Today we are mending my wounded pride. One of my friends watched my video to help them fall asleep at 3 in the morning, and they were still awake by the end of it. And I took personal offense to that. Sometimes it is very difficult being this interesting to where I can't even help a friend fall asleep. But I have taken steps to fix that this time. Today we are playing the most boring game that I could find. Nothing will be happening in this video, and my goal is to put everyone to sleep through boredom. To my friend, if you are watching this, I wish you the best of luck. Maybe don't watch this standing up, maybe watch it somewhere comfortable. I wouldn't want you to fall asleep and hit your head on the way down. Obviously, I also will be talking about stuff because what else am I going to do? Thrilling. I'll take the tavern because we're going to need some alcohol to get through this probably. The first topic that I wanted to talk about is actually my first revisit. I wanted to revisit the topic of social anxiety. When talking generalizations about any nuanced topic on the internet, you will never be able to get everything covered. It's just impossible. And that's okay. But I thought there was more to discuss, so I wanted to give it another go. Usually I save the more serious topics for the middle, kind of like a sandwich. I'm a big sandwich enjoyer, so I talk in that style of speech as well, try to emulate that. But everyone will be asleep by the time I get to the middle, so I think I'm just going to talk about it now. Let me preface this by saying that nothing that I'm going to talk about is really advice. It's more so just that I find it fun and interesting to talk about why we think about things. And also, I am completely prone to all the things that I'm talking about. I'm not above any of this. When I talked about it before, I talked about how it's a strange phenomena because there's no tangible threat necessarily. The one thing that I didn't talk about was the fear of judgment or being judged. Which, in many ways, judgment kind of is a tangible threat because we care about what other people think of us. When it comes to fear of judgment, I think it's very different, public versus private. When you're out and about in public, we're often afraid of what other people might think, even if we have no intention of talking to those people beyond that one time that we've seen them. Like for me, I actually kind of have a weird thing where it doesn't matter to me so much if I mess up or embarrass myself in public. I'll often just I'll spill something on my shirt and I'll be like, well, it's the third time this week. I really need to stop wearing white shirts because it's just, I ruin them every day. But if someone else messes up in public, then I get really bad secondhand embarrassment. So if I do something wrong, it doesn't matter. But if I see, if someone stumbles and says the wrong word or something like that, and I'm nearby, I literally feel like I want to fold up within myself and find the nearest drawer to hide in. But I think everyone can relate to the idea of a fear of judgment in public in some way. If you can't, then, I think you have a career as a TikToker, probably, but yes. I love turning shrimp into commercial goods. That is capitalism. But if you really think about it, and I know I kind of said this the last time, but people really don't care what we do or say in public for the most part. In fact, most people are just going to think about you for a brief moment and then ignore you and move on and never think about you again. But we might think about it for the next 3 weeks if we were to do something embarrassing in public. Nope, it's stormy. Wait, I forgot about this. This is timed. A terrible fishy smell comes from within. How's beef jerky gonna solve that, though? I realize that I am not preparing any food of any kind. I'm just starving to death slowly over time. I feel like that's not... Yeah, that's what I was worried about. There we go. I remember there was a study where... And I heard this from someone. I never looked up if it's true or not, but I'm just going to choose to believe it's true. I'm not going to look it up either, because that's how I live my life. And you shouldn't look it up either, because it's probably real, and I don't want to know if it's not real. Anyway, this study basically said that they had someone go into a college class wearing in the middle of the class, so everyone, turns to look when you enter in the middle of a class. And he was wearing the worst shirt imaginable, just like a disgusting shirt. And then they interviewed the students at the end of the class and asked if anyone could remember him or his shirt, and almost nobody even had thought about it at all. So really, it kind of goes to show, if it's real, which I'm sure it is, that we tend to overestimate how much other people think about us, or how much they're thinking about any mistake that happens, no matter who does it. I don't need to fold into a drawer when someone messes up, because I'm going to forget about it in 3 seconds, and so is everybody else. Look at these guys. I bet they have social anxiety. They're all just sitting there not talking to each other. Yeah, what do you have to be stressed out about with your boring little lives? I think things get quite a bit more complicated when it comes to private situations, like if you're with your family or friends, or even a stranger that you want to become friends with, because then their opinion has a reason to matter to you beyond just the normal general fear of judgment. And that's obviously a lot harder to talk about in a generalized way because of how much the context and the group and the people and you as an individual matters. But there are a couple things that I could say that probably apply. Maybe not, who knows. I need decor, okay? We'll set up some benches here. There we go. That's bench square right there. You get to sit in a square looking at each other. It's the only place to sit in the whole city. I think we as people always tend to make out our actions as the worst possible thing. So like, for instance, I've had times where I'll say something accidentally that could be misinterpreted, or I'll just say something dumb, period. Not that I've ever said anything dumb before. I know I'm contradicting myself, but I'm the YouTuber here, so I get to decide what's real and what's not. But then I'll worry about it, I'll think about it for like an hour, and then eventually I'll come back to it. I'll be like, hey, this thing, I didn't mean this, or whatever. And they'll either have forgotten about it entirely, or they won't have even heard me. I had been worried about it the whole time, and they didn't even hear what I said. Or they just, didn't care at all. So I think in our heads, it'll be the worst thing ever, but then to other people, they're not even paying attention. The other thing that we don't usually keep in mind is that other people, our friends and family, or strangers even, are also worried about our opinion. Not because our opinion is particularly important to them, but just because in the same way you're worried about being judged by strangers or friends, they often are too. I mean, not all people. I remember my mother traveled to a Hispanic country. My mother worked in international adoption, so she went to a whole bunch of places. I don't remember which Hispanic country it was, but someone there just straight up proposed to her in public. They had never met before. It was at a restaurant. She obviously said no. Otherwise, my life would take a very different course, I think. But I think some people are just built different. So if you're worried about doing something embarrassing, you're probably being polite somewhere in the world. But if you take a second to think about how others would react when you, especially your friends or family, when you do something embarrassing. Like if I see someone do something embarrassing, I'm not thinking, oh, what an idiot. I'm thinking, oh, that poor person, I've been there before. I know what that's like. And I think a lot of people feel that same way. They can relate to the pain of being embarrassed or being socially anxious. So, ironically, in the moment that you're probably most afraid of being cut off by people, you might be the most connected to them because they're all relating to how much pain you're in. I mean, I guess unless you, like, find a social Chad who'll just call you out for stuff. In that case, you're screwed. But, I mean, we all get unlucky. So I guess I do have two pieces of advice. And of course it turns to the storm when I give advice. That's not foreshadowing at all. This is just for fun advice. I have no idea if it'll be helpful or not. And I could have no idea what I'm talking about. There could be side effects. You could get a heart disease and lose all your hair. I don't know. We have no idea what could happen. What is this? Blood flower. A deadly carrion organism that feeds on decaying matter. This is probably the most interesting thing that's happened, and it's just a flower that doesn't move. Awesome. We love that. Are you asleep yet? So here's my two pieces of for fun advice that are just my opinion TM. One, the next time that you are worried about what your friends or family or just a stranger is thinking about you, since we think of ourselves in a really extreme way, take yourself out of the equation to some extent and flip it around. If a stranger did the same thing to you, or your friend did the same thing to you, would you remember it for the rest of time, or would you think about it for 3 seconds and then move on? If you would move on in 3 seconds, then the other person probably would too, in all honesty. And the other piece of advice I have is just remember that you're not alone in your worries. All of the other people that you interact with are probably worried about your opinion too. You have power here. You're powerful. Just by existing, you have social power. I think I've also come up with a solution for my problem. Since I'm more embarrassed by other people being embarrassed rather than doing things myself, if someone were to, like, say, trip in public, then I will just stand up, straight-faced, and just take out an air horn and go, and then I will put the air horn down in the dead silence that follows, sit down, go back to whatever I was doing. No one will remember the person that tripped. The person themselves won't even remember. Everyone will instead remember air horn guy. Although I guess doing that would just make me a TikToker, so maybe not actually. How have I not produced a single plank in the entire time that I have been doing this? How is that even possible? Well, you guys made the benches first. Yeah. Let's create benches, a place to sit, instead of our only source of food that exists. I can't believe that these are the people that I'm in charge of. Look at them. You live such boring lives. How can you stand to be this boring? You disgust me. Is it weird that this rain is making me thirsty? Like, I normally don't drink rain, but I guess it's just water. Is it also weird that I prefer room temperature water to, like, cold water? Is that strange? What can I say? I'm a room temperature guy. Room temperature looks, room temperature IQ, room temperature water is what I would say if I wasn't so hot and intelligent. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and when I behold myself in the mirror, there's beauty present, no matter what my mewing instructor tells me. I'm not even overcompensating, I truly believe that. If I was overcompensating, I'd be the first to tell you. Oh, they finally managed to build a farm. Awesome. The road to innovation is paved with benches, I guess. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is stand-up comedy. Not that any of you are awake to hear this, but I'm still going to talk about it. Hi. Hi. Now that we have acquired wood, we can build more benches. And then I know this is a little risky, but I'm going to give them technology that is beyond their means. We're going to give them light sources, but only in one location. They'll be able to see really well over here, though. Stand-up comedians make me upset, and I know that's kind of strange since I'm making YouTube content right now. But just hear me out for a second. I actually think that stand-up comedians are different from all other types of comedians, like, in movies and other stuff. Like for me, I don't even consider myself a comedian. When I tell a joke, there's no one even here. I'm not like thinking, oh, that was hilarious. When I tell a joke, there's dead silence. And I pray. I have my hands raised in the air as it goes out into the void. And I pray, content watchers, please at least give me a chuckle. Like, I'll take anything. But comedians are different, stand-up comedians, because they pause for laughter. And that steams me for some reason. There is nothing that I hate more than when someone tells a joke in front of an audience and then they wait for the laughter to come. And they always get it, because they're spoiled. What do you mean resolve is low? What are you upset about? You don't have a house? Just be quiet, alright? We have bigger problems. I mean, I'm still gonna build him a house. I'm like an anime character. I say mean things, but I don't really mean them. Except I'm also a politician. When somebody pauses for laughter, as you know, as I've talked about, I'm very rebellious. I don't fit into social norms, okay? So when they pause to laugh, I'm not gonna do it. I refuse. And it insults me that you even insinuated that you knew when I was gonna laugh. I don't get to have a laugh track when I tell jokes. I mean, that would actually be crazy if I set up a laugh track in here. That would be ludicrous. Also, I just realized I have a tavern, but we have no alcohol. What would you even do? Just go to the tavern and sit around and look at each other. Yeah, that would be a fun night out. Like a comedian will be like, they'll get to the punchline and they'll be like, and then I said, how'd that get in there? And then like the audience, like they'll expect the audience, they'll look around with like those greedy eyes. And they know the audience is going to laugh because the audience paid to be there. They paid money to be there, or they were paid to be there. So they feel compelled to laugh. They're like, if I don't laugh, I just wasted my money. Even the lowest rated comedy specials of all time have people laughing at every joke. It's like fate. And I think that gives comedians an inflated ego, you know? Unlike me, I have just the right amount of ego because I'm perfect in every way. The only thing that's not perfect about me is that I'm a little too modest, honestly. We have 9 food. My entire civilization is living off of 7 berries. Oh, 6. We need to stop turning berries into backpacks, I think. We must expand. We must expand for the sake of food. It's like a metaphor or something. Just cut down trees. And I mean, there's still stand-up comedians that are funny. I don't like being bossed around. I don't like being bossed around by the comedian or the audience. I laugh when I want to. I'm the boss around here. You don't get it, kid. I'm the boss around here. Around these parts. I can't really do a country accent. I wish I was a country boy. I'd have access to a lot more hats. I really need to speed this up, I think, because I'm already so far into this and I'm not making any progress. You know what? Activating racism button. I don't know why that's in the game, but apparently that's a mechanic. This beaver is going to take an entire 13 minutes to get here. You know what? Just get here right now. Look at them. They're all just so useless. I get more action in a single minute than you do in your whole life because of my APMs. Oh, beaver. No. I have no money. I am poor, and I have no money, and I have no food, and my people are going to die. There's only alcohol in here. There's only ever alcohol, no food. Where is the food? Oh, Nelly. Basket of biscuits. Get in there. We have no people. What are you doing? You can get off of there. Yeah, get out of here. I am your king and you will obey me. We literally have no food. I'm just bad. I'm bad and sad, and these people make me mad. That was my attempt at rapping, but I don't think it worked. I need help. What rhymes with help? Kelp. My career is over. Well, while everything falls into decay here, not that any of you will be awake to see it anyway. You know what? I know that this is just a short-term solution, but get these people in here. They have vegetables with them. I welcome anyone into my city that has food for us to eat because we are dying. We're just going to pave a road right down to the benches. That's the hot spot here, is the 2 bench zones. Those are the tourist attractions. I did have one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is radio people. I just think radio is so weird. Like, I know it's very similar to other stuff, but I feel like it's kind of in its own world to some extent. Like, if I was going to do a radio voice, I would be like, hello, everyone. This is FM 190. We are here with the weather today. Looks like it's going to be a cold one out there. Lots of rain and snow. I don't know what either of those things are. I've never heard of them. Rain and snow, but they're a mystery to me. Thankfully, we have our resident expert on rain and snow, Brett. Brett, take it away. And then Brett would go on to explain something that we already know, but he would overcomplicate it to the point where we think that we learned something, but really we know less now than we did previously. And they get to play music when they run out of things to say. They get to play music. I don't get to play music. I would love to play music, but I only listen to extremist alternative techno religious music. I only listen to Deuteronomy Core, so I don't think that would work out so well. The other thing about radio hosts is that they'll say some crazy stuff, but you can't skip back. Oh, the people are angry. We're ending racism. A totem built by fishmen. Can I see the fishmen? Because I would love for anything to happen, ever. No? Okay, then we're gonna burn it down and get some biscuits out of it. Radio hosts will say some crazy stuff, and then because you can't skip back, you won't be able to notice what it is, what's happening. So they'll just be talking, and it'll be in the background blah, blah, blah. You're not listening. And then all of a sudden, you'll just hear and then my mom was abducted by an alien. And you'll be like, wait, what? And then by the time you get back to listening, they're just talking about football again. I swear they see what they can get away with. I swear. Yes, I know that we have no food. I'm sorry, is complaining about no food gonna make food appear? Do you have ways to just make food appear? I swear people just complain for no reason. Guys, this road is taking an awfully long time to build. I'm sorry, are you doing anything? Not building a road. We need this infrastructure. Thank you. We have one road. More housing, more housing. Can't you just cramp in there or something? Tavern running strong. Yep, still no alcohol. Very good. You know, I'm honestly a little bit worried about being able to finish this on time. This is taking quite a bit longer than I would have expected. And all of you are probably asleep by now anyway. So maybe I just call it here. This would technically be the first time that I don't finish the game that I'm playing. Usually I win every time, but what better way to bore everyone than to just not have any stakes and end early? Yeah, you know what? The lizards are unhappy again. I think this will be a good place to end off, honestly. Look at our cozy little home. We got the roads almost built. We got the benches. We got light on one side of the city. I think this is a good place to live, and I can just leave them off. Don't look at that. Don't worry about the food. They'll be fine if I leave them to their own devices. They can take it from here. For those of you who are already asleep, which I'm sure is everybody, you will never get to hear the plot twist of this video, which is that I'm not even awake right now. I've been asleep the whole time. This whole thing was a psyop, and you fell for it hook, line, and sinker. So why don't you think about that one? Oh wait, you can't, 'cause you're asleep. Anyway, that's it for me. What's my philosophical advice for today. My philosophical advice for today is, if you're ever embarrassed in public, just go find a friend with an air horn. He'll take care of the rest. I hope you have a good day. Goodbye. I'm going to be so excited when I wake up and find that I have an entire video recorded. And then I'm going to be very disappointed when I watch the video and realize that there's just nothing in there that's usable.